Hello, and welcome back to Hanksy Panksy Honor Among Reeves, a podcast where two dumb idiot best friends absconded with Tom Hanks, purloined Dwayne Johnson, and are about to be absolutely mugged by Keanu Reeves. I'm Sam Siegel, and I'm stealing your camcorder.
One of the few events in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Only in New York.
New York.
Only in New York. Sam, you're a little quiet this week.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that. Part of it is because my wife is either napping or trying to. So trying to keep things a little quiet, but there's some other stuff going on.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, this week I am Luke Patrick. I'm the other dumb idiot, and I am on coke.
Oh, okay. You pretty chill for someone on coke.
Yeah, I'm pretty mellow for someone who just sneefed hoovered a bunch of schneef.
Yeah, a little bit of snus.
Yeah, a little hoovered some schneef. Snus would be different.
Yeah, snus is different. Yeah,
that's a different thing.
Don't
put that up your nose.
I just love saying snus.
Snus. Camel snus. Sam's favorite product.
Yeah, everyone knows I love some snus.
Packing a fat lip of Camel snus everywhere Sam goes. Camel, Joe Camel is what I refer to Sam as. So
yeah, a lot of people do. Mostly as my stint as a voice actor for Joe Camel.
For Joe Camel.
Yeah. Weird time in my life.
Yeah, it made money though.
Oh yeah. The weird part and the reason I had to stop was because they kept saying, like, could you make it friendlier to children?
Yeah, that's a line. Even though they were waving sacks of cash at you.
Oh yeah,
just absolute bags of the shit. Anyway, that's who I am this week. Sam, what did we do?
We watched 2012's Generation. How was your watch?
Distressed.
So
Sam, let me give some context. I went backpacking this weekend. Sam, I lugged 25 to 30 pounds of shit through the woods, mile after mile.
By your own choice.
By my own choice. Yeah. I worried about getting eaten by a bear. I ate dehydrated food that I made myself. No, it did not get eaten by a bear.
Okay.
Didn't even see a bear.
Okay.
And I loved every second of it.
That's sick. Absolutely sick.
Adored it. It was a great birthday retreat. Happy birthday to me.
Yes, happy birthday, Luke.
Yeah, thank you. And loved every second of it. That being said, I'm tired today. Yeah, came back. We stopped at this little diner that we like on the way back into town.
Wait, what diner?
The old Patio Cafe in Conway, Arkansas. If you're ever in Conway, Arkansas, unlike Rock Springs, Wyoming, I will not pay for your meal.
No.
This is not a hibachi in Rock Springs, Wyoming, which I will pay for if you go there by yourself,
alone.
No alcohol.
Less than $100.
Government rules on this one, folks.
Yeah, you do kind of have a per diem on this.
Yeah, you do have a per diem, but I will pay for it. So went to this little diner, came back, immediately went to sleep. We're talking 10 in the morning.
Okay. Jesus.
Slept for like an hour and a half, woke up, watched this movie. And then immediately went back to sleep.
Yes.
So this movie was sandwiched in between what many miles of hiking will do to you. And Sam, I'm gonna break the seal on the review section slightly and say this movie was not the reprieve I was looking for.
No.
This one was a bit of a chore. Also, Freebie.
Yeah, let's talk about Freebie, huh?
Yeah, you want to talk about? Well, I feel like from your notes, you probably have more to. You sent me a screenshot of your notes. You probably have more to say about Freebie than I do. So I'll just pass the baton. Sam, how was your watch?
So bad. It was so bad. Um, so uh have not had just the greatest day. Nothing terrible, but also not the day that I wanted.
Sure.
Um, and that started with me sleeping on the couch this morning for way longer than I intended to. And I don't like,
Not because you're in the doghouse, right?
no. Cat woke me up at 5:30. I fed her. I was like, oh, fall back asleep for a little bit. Slept for 4 hours.
Oh,
And I don't like sleeping in. Don't
I
like
don't
it.
either. I hate it these days.
Yeah. And so I like woke up at 9. I didn't really like get going until about 12:30. I hated it.
Ugh.
Yeah.
12:30.
Yeah, I know. I fucking hated it.
Yeah, I'm
And
like
so,
done with my day by 12:30.
mhm. Yeah. So I sat down to play some Starfield because I
Yeah.
just wanted to have a little me time, wanted to play some Starfield. And I was like, I'll watch this fucking movie later. So I started playing Starfield and I'm having a good time. And then I come across a game breaking bug.
Ah,
Yep. And I got very angry. I got real angry.
it
Uh,
sounds like you got a little angry.
Sounds like I got very angry. So somewhere around the time that I encountered this game breaking bug, you you messaged me that you were going to start the movie, and I was like, okay, fine. And so I tried a couple things to fix this. None of them worked. Um, Todd Howard, I'm speaking only to you now. Fucking fix this, okay? I don't want to travel around with Samco everywhere, and nor can I, because when I try to enter any building or my ship, I just go into an endless loading screen that then crashes. Hey, Todd. Hey, fucking Todd. You've known about this for a month. A month, Todd. This, fix it.
Yeah.
Fix it, Todd. I just want to play your fucking game on my Sunday. Anyway, so then I booted up the movie and started
Oh,
up. It's on Freevee. And then immediately, TV says invalid format. And I assumed this was Freevee. And I said, what the fuck does that mean, Freevee? You're serving this up. How can you serve me an invalid format? It was not Freevee. In fact, it was my television telling me that what was on screen was an invalid format. I don't know
what?
what that means. So I got angrier and I throttled my Xbox controller for a moment. And then
I've seen him do this before, folks. It's terrifying.
yeah, I'm going to be a dad soon. Um, so I turn the TV off, I turn it back on, and it's fine. So start Freevee up. I watch the shitty ads. I'm taking some notes. I'm very angry. My pen stops working. And it just was really getting to me.
So
So,
you're having one of those days, capital
yes.
letters across the board. You know what I mean? Where
Mm-hmm.
it's like a rhino didn't burst into your house and take a shit in your floor, and then like
No.
Kool-Aid
No.
Man back out the house. Like, but it's like all these tiny little irritations.
Yeah. Yeah. A bad day by a million glitches.
You're taking so many L's,
Mm-hmm.
basically, and you
Yes.
just need a W, like
Yeah.
one.
And then I put on this movie finally,
Yeah.
and it didn't get better. And Luke,
Nope.
this was my most disrespectful watch.
That's my guy, my brother in Moses.
Yeah, sure.
Completely fair.
Yeah. So, very quickly, I decided if this movie's not going to respect me, then I won't respect it. I peed twice. I was
Nice.
on my phone for most of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I have good news. You didn't miss anything by
oh, I
these
know.
activities.
Because that was the other thing. I was watching the scene where Keanu was just eating a cupcake. Nothing was happening. He was eating a
Yeah.
cupcake. And I said, oh, I could go do fucking anything. and come back any amount of time later, and I won't miss a goddamn thing.
You mean the at least 3 minute,
Mm-hmm.
and we're talking beginning of the movie, 3 or 4 minute segment
Mm-hmm.
where Keanu eats the entirety of a cupcake on a New York street.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, as the camera slowly pans out. It I and folks, I did try. Okay. I
Yeah.
tried. I was like, you know what? Maybe let's kind of snap me out of this mood. I did 10 minutes on the treadmill, just trying to like ground myself,
Yeah.
being my body, try and get some movement, was shake out the fury. Nothing. Nothing worked. The
Yeah.
best part of my watch was that both the cats were with me.
I feel like the treadmill only works when the movie is at least something like entertaining,
Hmm.
which is sort of a base requirement for movies.
You would think so.
Yeah, because then you're somewhat engaged, but you're maximizing the engagement by
Yeah.
getting physical movement involved.
I
And
mostly
yeah.
I thought the movement would work out the fury.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, it kind of did. Um, the problem was I spent the rest of the movie dejected.
I have a statement.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it applies to both of us, but I mean this with no judgment.
Mm-hmm.
I think you are the least ideal person to have Hulk powers
Oh yeah.
because you'd be playing Starfield
Mm-hmm.
and then you'd suddenly be the size of a house.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone that knows anyone that's pretty close to me knows that I do have a bit of a temper. Not
But
like a creepy I'm gonna go shoot a place up kind of
no,
temper.
no, 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 no. That's exactly my point. Your temper is usually tethered to things like uh my pen ran out of ink,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other examples. I know I've seen them, but small irritations that are completely valid.
Yeah,
I don't want to take away from your
they
anger.
get me real hot though.
But they get you. You would be hulking up kind of with regularity over,
Mm-hmm.
and then some of the police would show up and they'd ask what happened here,
Yeah,
and
it'd
they'd
be
be
like,
like,
well, they gave me my burger, but it didn't have the grilled onions on it.
yeah.
So I smashed a school bus. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Tell them to give me the grilled onions next time.
Yeah, I paid for those.
I paid for those. Is it that hard? Anyway.
Or the other day, yesterday, we went to Target, and the person in line in front of us was buying a $152 Lego set, and
Damn.
was uh, getting like pretty heated about the fact that the it was unclear if it was $25 or 25% off like deal did not apply to that Lego set. And
Mhm.
so she was like kind of arguing with the checkout person
Yeah.
at Target about this for, I'm not joking, 5 minutes. And I've got a mask on and I'm sitting there grumbling and getting louder and louder. At one point, I turned to Kenna and said, I'll give her the fucking $25 if she'll shut up and leave. Because it's like, it's $25. Take the L, you
Take
know?
the L. Take like you're in Chicago, take the L.
Mm
Sam, this would be my Hulk weakness to
hmm.
evenly
Mm
spread the Hulk blame here
hmm.
would be other people. Um
I do hate other people.
Other people would be mine in a big way because Sam, in that scenario, I would be throwing things fully hulked out. I would rip apart the box, build the Lego set, and then Hulk smash it and be like $25. Um,
Really? It's just like, because I was talking to Ken afterward, and it was just like, if that happened to me, I'd just go, oh, well, damn, uh, that sucks, but I'll whatever, I'll just pay
either
for it.
get it, either shit or get off the pot. Either get it
Exactly.
or don't. No one is forcing you to buy it. Okay,
And
important.
and
Did
she
they
can't,
get it?
no,
Oh,
but she got, so it was like $25 off and a $10 gift card that she was supposed to get with this deal. And what she kept doing was she kept saying that the sign for the deal was in the same aisle as the Legos, like
Yeah.
right next to the Lego set. And she just kept talking about how like they should not do that if the deal does not apply to them. And these are the cashiers. They don't
Yeah.
they don't put the signs there.
No, they have no authority to do anything in
Yeah.
this scenario.
And so she just like kind of keeps arguing with the cashier, and then the manager shows up, and so she's just going back and forth, and the manager it shouldn't, but is being like, no, I totally understand, like I'm so sorry. And so they ended up giving her 20% off, which is $30, which she did not deserve.
Yeah.
But then so I was next, and then the cashier was like, I wish she had stayed because I was just going to give her a $10 gift card anyway, because it all comes back to Target.
Yeah.
So who gives a shit?
Yeah. That's that galaxy brain. That's that 4D chess right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you
Mm-hmm.
want a $50 gift card to Target? Here, have 100.
Yeah, why
It's
not?
fine.
It all
Yeah.
fucking comes back to Target in the end.
Yeah.
So yeah. Normally, Luke, this is the part where I would ask you for the plot. But I'm gonna do it this time because there isn't a plot.
Okay. I have one plot point, but I'm
Okay.
very curious to hear how you spin this. Or was
Oh,
that it? Was that the entirety?
there's no plot.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Here,
This is an hour and 36 minutes of no plot.
let me give you my breakdown because I've been thinking about this a lot as the designated plot guy.
Sure, yeah.
Keanu, and they don't tell you this at all.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically just show you at the end of the movie, which ordinarily is a good thing, I guess, like show don't tell. Not in this
Yeah,
case. The
no.
only salient detail, sort of, is that Keanu is a driver for an escort service.
Mm-hmm.
This is not explained.
No, no.
So
In the worst example of show don't tell.
yeah, so we start the movie with him and these two gals who are described as his girlfriends. They
Mm-hmm.
are, at least one of them is incredibly irritating.
I was trying to make sense of the pain that I was in. And
Mm-hmm.
so I started reading reviews of this movie.
Oh, you mean a movie that has, folks, a 0% on Rotten
Yeah,
Tomatoes?
the tomatometer is a big old goose egg.
It's a
It's a
goose
big
egg.
old tomato. On this one, there is nothing. Um, yeah, so I did go over to the tomatometer, and they didn't have anything good to say. And
No.
so I read the New York Times review of it because it had my single favorite blurb on the
Yeah.
tomatometer, which can I read it to you?
Oh, yes, please.
So Stephen Holden of the New York Times wrote, "What does it add up to? Um, I have no idea and don't really care."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I read the full review, and in it, he describes them as the most loathsome girls gone wild you could ever meet.
It's kind of true.
It is.
Yeah, because okay, so that's the framework we're dealing with, and then as Sam mentioned, nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
No, like I knew we were fucked the minute we had the cupcake scene, because again,
Yeah,
that's like within the first 10 minutes, and it takes up 3 to 4 of those minutes.
it is deeply pivotal in that it shows you exactly what you're being subjected to.
It shows you the pace that you're about to be subjected to, and it is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nothing happens. Literally nothing happens. At
Mm-hmm.
the end of this movie, they're driving around in his car,
Mm-hmm. That's it.
talking. They just talk. They talk about
Nothing.
nothing.
See, that's the other, is that when they do talk, it is genuinely the most unpleasant shit you have ever heard. And I don't
Yeah.
mean like foul language as much as you all know that I hate it. Um,
You're such a like prude.
I am such an absolute fucking prude. It's a real problem in
Mm-hmm.
this household. My goddamn prudishness. But no, it's that it is like upsetting.
Yeah.
It's grim shit that no one wants to hear about. Uh, and why?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because it's like it's an edgelord movie.
Yes,
Keanu's character only ever says deeply stupid edgelord shit.
yes. We've sort of gotten to the editorial part of this program, but
Yeah.
Luke, what did you think?
This movie is stupid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna burn a really basic one on this
Yeah,
one. I was
yeah.
trying to decide if I've burnt my bad for the season.
Well, I thought there is no good or bad.
There is no good or bad. Do we get one?
I mean, I think this might be the one that proves that we can.
Because Sam, I was going through the other worst movies we've ever seen in my head, and
Mm-hmm.
I have bad news.
This is the worst.
This is probably the worst movie
Oh,
we've ever
without
seen.
a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a fucking doubt. I think I previously said that, and this is just for the patrons, that La Mustache was the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Nope. This is
No,
it.
not, and it's not. So take like Southland Tales, a
Mm-hmm.
very bad movie,
Exquisitely bad.
exquisitely bad.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, so much worse than
Yes.
Southland Tales.
And shorter, which is the weird part.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half ish, but it feels like 3 hours because it
Feels
never ends.
yes. It's so long.
Yeah.
Which is why, Luke, that I have decided that this movie is an act of violence.
Yeah.
The violence was done to us today via this movie.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd agree.
that is the only way that I could get through this is by recognizing it as an act of violence against me. Uh,
Sorry, I just blacked out because I was thinking about the script.
yeah.
Because you have to present a script to people.
Mm-hmm.
They have to read it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to go, okay, yeah, I'll give you $1.9 million, the budget of this movie.
What?
And let's go make a movie. Let's get some actors and
Mm-hmm.
get some insurance and let's make a movie.
Do you think maybe the script didn't say that every line was mumbled?
I think it said explicitly under the name tag
Mm-hmm.
on each line, mumbled.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Because it's the
Could,
same guy
could,
that wrote and directed it.
oh yeah, no, I know. Mark
Yeah.
Man, you can
Mark
go
Man.
fuck yourself and
I,
get hit by a bus.
I hate to get personal on these, but Mark Man, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, hey Mark Man, eat shit and die. There's a reason this is the last thing you ever directed, and you should never be allowed next to a film set ever again.
Sometimes, okay, to be somewhat generous,
Ugh, I can't.
in as much as I humanly can, not every profession is for everybody.
This is the meanest generous read, Luke.
Sometimes, I mean, no matter what you do, sometimes you're going to take a stab at something and it's going to come out a big old goose egg on Rotten
Mm-hmm.
Tomatoes.
Oh man, I see. The thing is, I wouldn't trust Mark Man to run a fucking 7-Eleven.
I'd see. Maybe he'd run the most amazing 7-Eleven you've ever seen, just as
Just
long as you don't put cameras anywhere near it.
based on the choices that he made in this film, no, his sense of judgment is compromised.
Yeah.
Um,
Oof.
no, I wouldn't trust him with my enemy,
Yeah. Yeah.
who
Bad things would befall that
I
person.
think is actually Mark Mann now.
I think it is. Because again, folks, we've seen, I think we're up to 170 episodes
Oh,
of the main line, not including the Patreon. We've seen a lot of bad
an
movies.
unconscionable number of movies.
Yeah, many of them very bad. This one, absolute worst, no question about it.
I mean, here's what it is. Even with, I think, the worst movies we've seen, you
Mhm.
can find like a redeeming quality. I
Yeah.
think there's like one thing in there that you can find, like with the Lady Killers. I think like the concept of a heist movie,
Yeah.
sure, like a heist movie, you know.
Yeah.
With Southland Tales, they were really trying to do something.
They took a huge swing with,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going to call out those two movies in particular as I think the worst of their generation of this
Mm-hmm.
podcast. The first and second season, those were the worst. This one, those other movies had a plot.
They did have a plot. Or like again, La Moustache, which it questionably had a plot,
Yeah.
but was again like trying to do something.
Yeah.
This is a movie that seemingly set out to do nothing.
Well, here's what I think was happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's trying to have something to say because there's all these little nudges
Mm-hmm.
of this movie. I think the movie is probably set in like 2009 or 2008 or something.
I
Um,
At least 2008 because one eminently hateable character, because they all are,
yeah,
says something about Obama.
I think it's a 2008 oh 08. Um, because there's all these little nudges about the housing crisis with
Mm-hmm.
the subprime mortgages and stuff. And and this is all through the background. We're getting like things about the Iraq War. There's a radio playing and the stuff about the Iraq War
Mm-hmm.
in the troop station there, the subprime loan situation. It's just some little tidbits that are like, oh, society.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything that falls out of Keanu's mouth is this like weird edge lordy Donnie Darko shit. It's
Yes.
trying to say something.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what the message is.
Yeah, I like genuinely. It is genuinely impossible to try and figure out what Mark Mann, a guy who loves to eat shit, wanted us to take away from this film. Which, like, I also can't figure out. Like, there are scenes that are, I like, objectively speaking, a waste of time. The cupcake scene.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Keanu films a trash can,
Yeah. Or a squirrel. He
or a
films a
squirrel,
squirrel.
or poorly films some dogs.
Yeah.
You can't make the case that this is not a waste of time. And so, why would you spend your limited time on this planet making something specifically meant to waste people's time?
I don't know. I have
We
no
have a
answers.
There's a housing crisis, Mark.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's 7 years after the towers fell. We're still healing.
It is amazing because some people, again, sometimes you take an L and you figure out that the direction you thought things were going, it's not going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. The problem is that Keanu's in this for us.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I have a theory about that. Here's what I think, because Keanu keeps doing this to us.
He does, and I'm getting to a point where I'm not sure I trust his judgment.
Okay, here's why I think this keeps happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is post Matrix by a lot.
Oh yeah.
Keanu is massive.
Mm-hmm.
But he keeps doing these very bad little indie movies.
Yes.
Here's what I think happens. One, Keanu is a humble enough guy that he will show up on set for a movie that has a budget of $1.9 million and take whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's just kind of who he is, which is awesome.
What a mensch.
What a mensch. I think if he honestly might have showed up for like a used Toyota Corolla for this flick or whatever and was like, cool, it's a great car.
Sure.
120,000 miles. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah. No, that's fair for a movie. That's SAG rates.
That's SAG rates, baby. Yeah, they actually had to put in a little like appendix on the SAG contracts for Keanu Reeves. It's
Yeah,
like it
cannot pay Keanu Reeves in a used Corolla.
cannot convince Mr. Reeves to do a movie for Tapas. Um, um, so SAG Tapas rates aside, I
Mhm.
th- I think what happens is that he one is okay with whatever salary. Two, someone sells him on the vision.
Mm,
So
okay.
someone talked him into this because I think he has a soft spot for movies that are trying to say something, like indie movies that have something to say.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Because that seems to be what he goes for.
Hmm.
So I think someone sold him on the vision, and then he's not the greatest at backing out.
I I get the distinct feeling that he feels bad backing out of stuff.
I very much think this is true.
And so he's in this bad situation. He's like, ooh, what I don't want to be part of this, but that's gonna be a that you know what it is? Keanu needs to go to therapy and he needs to learn how to set boundaries.
Yeah.
Because this is basic boundary setting right here.
Basic
Is
boundary setting.
because Keanu, and I'm talking to you now, not my nemesis Mark Mann or the person who ruined my day today, Todd Howard. Um, if you're leaving the movie causes a lot of problems, but you want to leave it because it's making you unhappy, it's not your problem. It's not
Yeah.
your. You got to take care of you first. You know, Keanu, you can't act from an empty cup.
Yeah.
So you got to take care of you first,
I
so
mean,
that you can do more John Wick or whatever.
which is coming up, three
It is
watches.
3 watches. Hey, I have my eye on it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the Baba Yaga that is John Wick. But here's the deal. I mean, wasn't there a movie that they wrote a script and they presented it to Keanu? He
mhm.
signs everything. They show up day of, and the script is completely different.
Yes.
Which
I
movie was that?
ooh. Let me look through his IMDb real quick.
Because it was another one of these little indie guys. I'm pretty
It
sure.
it was. Um
But yeah, the point being that Keanu, if you get a weird feeling about something and you want to just bolt,
yeah.
you can do that, my friend.
Man, I am struggling to remember what it was. The problem is I keep getting it confused with that movie that Dwayne did where he plays a gay guy with a like a twitch or something.
Be cool.
Was it Be Cool? No, because
That's
it was a sequel and James Woods was in
get
Get
shorty.
Shorty. Yeah.
Yeah,
I keep confusing it with that.
yeah,
But that obviously that's not it.
yeah. That one had no Keanu content.
No, not at all. Was it? Fuck, man.
It could be any of them. Is the
It could,
problem?
because I'm looking at the early stuff here, and we've got like River's Edge. Um, let's see, the
It
night
was later
before,
than that. It was the fairly recent one.
Permanent Record, Prince of Pennsylvania, Dangereuse Liaison. Bill and Ted, definitely not. Parenthood, no. I Love You to Death.
No, I think it was more recent.
You think post Little Buddha,
I think post Matrix.
post Matrix?
Yeah, there was one that popped up that they were like, yeah, so they sent a script and then we showed up and they completely rewrote everything.
Wait, was it the Replacements?
Which one, Sam?
That was the football
Which
one.
no, it wasn't that one.
Okay.
That
And
one was
then
actually all right.
so we've got the Replacements, The Watcher, The Gift, Sweet November. Maybe it was Sweet
It was
November.
Sweet November, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Jesus, I feel like I have holes in my head. You
Mm-hmm.
were reading off the names of movies, Sam. I could not distinguish one of these from another if you asked
It's
me.
it's very troubling that watching all of Keanu's movies so far has been like having a prion,
Yeah.
in that it is eating away at me uh,
Yeah.
in a significant way. And I mean, very little disrespect, Keanu. I'm not going to say no disrespect because I did just compare your cinematography to a prion disease.
Hmm.
Um, but like, it's been a challenge.
I think it has been. And here's the deal. We are in what I'm going to call the second wave of Keanu.
Yes.
Because, like, you know how there's waves of coffee, first wave, second wave, third wave.
No,
Oh, there are.
I don't drink coffee, Luke.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good point. Well, for the coffee connoisseurs, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Ooh, that's a cat butt
Mm-hmm. Enjoy
in
that, folks on YouTube.
right in screen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is the second wave of Keanu. The first being that early period pre-Matrix,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Where kind of like Tom Hanks, who's getting his footing in the 80s and 90s. It progressed, things got okay. Second wave, Matrix and beyond.
Yes.
We are at the tail end of that second string because Sam, what's right around the corner is John Wick,
John Wick.
which
Mr.
I
Wick.
which I would argue is the third wave of Keanu and
Mm-hmm.
possibly the career defining best wave of
I think
Keanu
so.
Reeves.
Uh, which is wild because he's had like, again, The Matrix is also career defining. So it is wild
Yeah.
that this guy's had essentially two career defining franchises.
Yeah. And I think from my memory of being an alive human being during this time period,
Mm-hmm.
I believe post John Wick, he stopped doing these. Somebody got to him
I think so.
and he
Well,
stopped doing these movies.
maybe he finally got into therapy.
Maybe he got into therapy and got some boundaries going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep, 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 yeah. Because so that's what I'm looking forward to. And we've got two action movies on the hook and then
Mm-hmm.
John Wick. So
Yes. Oh, and for folks who are listening and didn't see it, I made a kiss noise just now. That's because my cat is in my lap and I kissed her on the head. I realized that if you're listening to this, all of a sudden you just hear me kiss.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it was
so
really cute. For those who aren't watching on YouTube, it was very adorable.
these are the things you miss by not watching it.
In our dope shirts, you and I both wearing pretty good shirts today. I have a little monster guy in a ramen bowl, and it just
Ooh,
says
nice.
lunch on it.
Oh, very nice. Mine is a shirt of a bunch of Tom Hanks roles.
Yeah, it's extremely good.
It does. I have a question for you, Luke.
Yeah.
Let's go back in time
Okay.
to, I guess, 2000, 7 years after the towers fell. We're still healing as a nation, and we're taking another lump as the housing crisis is falling down around us. And Mark Mann, an evil bastard
Mm-hmm.
with absolutely no talent whatsoever, is making a shitty little film called Generation
Okay, really quick. The
Mhm.
name of the movie means something to him. I was hoping it would be explained throughout the course of the movie. It
Uh-huh.
is not.
No, I assume that he thinks that people of this age are part of a generation that is just sort of aimless.
I guess.
I don't know. Fuck him for making me even dig that deep. But
Yeah.
he's making a shitty little film called Generation because it does have three dots.
Yeah.
And he can't get Keanu Reeves like he wants. So instead, Luke, I want you to imagine he casts a young, up and coming star by the name of Dwayne The Rock Johnson, making his pivot into theater.
Yeah.
Here
Into
comes,
the big silver screen theater, as
mhm,
people call it.
here comes big boy Dwayne The Rock Johnson, big beefy man.
Yeah. Well, I tell you one thing. So in this movie, Keanu drives around like an old beat up station wagon.
It would be an old beat up truck, wouldn't it?
It'd be an old beat up truck because Dwayne the Rock Johnson's in his rider only gets to drive around in trucks
Mhm.
or big fuck off Humvee looking things.
Yes,
That is word for word what it says in the contract. Big fuck off looking Humvee motherfuckers.
that's it.
That's it. So it would have been a truck. He'd be hauling these women around in a beat up truck.
Hmm.
I actually think this would have been fantastic.
It would have been better,
It would have been so much better.
and I think that's uh for one reason, and I don't know if you and I are thinking on the same wavelength here, but what Keanu did was he played in the space,
Yes.
and that's why it's so bad because he has nothing, and Keanu is comfortable sort of serving up kind of a numbness, if
Yeah.
you will.
Well, again, Keanu is playing in the space because he's the nicest man on earth
Mm-hmm.
and he's a talented professional. And when someone says whatever direction it was that he got, like, I need you to be the literal embodiment of the sad Keanu memes. Can you do that? And he
Mm-hmm.
went, well, you're giving me
A
a
used Toyota Corolla, so
used
why not?
Celica. So yeah, let's go for it.
A Celica, Jesus, that's even worse. Um, but Dwayne would not play in this space.
Dwayne would not play in this space.
You know he would get the people's eyebrow.
The people's eyebrow, like breaking the fourth wall.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like turning as so one of the girls would say something horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then he would just turn to the camera and we get the old people's eyebrow.
Yeah, I imagine he would do it the whole cupcake scene.
You
Just
know he would.
all 3 minutes of the cupcake scene, just
Yeah. Um, it also just has a different vibe if because Keanu is this like wispy, starting to gray, long-haired kind of dude.
mm-hmm.
Um, who is very good at, like you said, like serving up a numbness.
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne is this big, vivacious, muscly, like
Yes.
dude. So
Mm-hmm.
the cupcake scene would just be a weird scene of a guy who's like 6'3" and 300 pounds of muscle
Mm-hmm.
eating a cupcake on the side of a New York street. Like,
which which in his hand would look like one of those little tea cakes.
yes, it would.
Because it wasn't a big cupcake to begin with.
No,
What
it
flavor do you think it was?
probably vanilla.
I looked at it pretty closely because I was trying to grab onto anything. It was, I would say, brown to orange.
Oh,
So I'm thinking we're looking at like a carrot cake.
I think it's a carrot cake. Yeah, if it was at all orange, I
Could be
feel like
pumpkin,
it could be pumpkin.
but that's kind of early for a pumpkin craze, isn't it?
Yeah, do we know when this movie is actually set? Like what time?
I don't know. But
Exactly.
yeah,
Who fucking knows or cares?
it's set during a time when our nation is healing. I can tell you
The
that
nation
much.
is healing and it's
Mhm.
about to get walloped again
Yeah,
by a housing crisis. Um, can we talk about The Big Short really quick?
we can talk about The Big Short now. That's a movie.
Now that's a movie, is all I have to say about it. But I was just thinking about how the same time period is trying to this movie that we watched today is trying to say something, has
Hmm.
no idea how to go about it, doesn't do it at all. I have no clue why it's titled Generation
Hmm.
It's bullshit. The Big Short? Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, it's
Now
saying
we're
something.
talking.
And here's what's incredible is I left both movies angry, but in very different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Big Short left me angry in a way that made me want to like change stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing that I wanted to change after finishing this movie is my status as a living person.
Yeah. Because The Big Short does, and folks, if you haven't seen The Big Short recently, God, is it good? But
You should give it a shot.
you got to remember, there is that last 10 minutes where they go into detail about how nothing has changed.
Nothing,
And it is
not a damn thing.
it's a gut punch. Because there's
Mhm.
some movies like Saving Private Ryan, you know you're in for a bummer time. Great movie, very hard to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Big Short, you're like, oh, this is like Moneyball. This is like a fun thing where we dive into this horrible practice
Mm-hmm.
that wrecked the economy, and there's players involved, and it's fun to kind of learn something. And then at the very end of the movie, they have that big scroll that's like, by the way, it's 10 years later we made this movie and fucking nothing has changed.
Yeah, no
And
one went to
now
jail, and they still kind of do the same thing, but under a different name.
under a different name. And you're like, God damn, I just spent my Sunday afternoon watching 2.5 hours of this
Mm-hmm.
because I thought it would be fun, and it was.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesus, yeah, now I'm really mad and I have to
Yeah.
go make dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did you ever read the book?
I didn't.
I did while I was at my old job,
Mm.
instead of doing my job, and there wasn't anything for me to do anyway. So it's good,
Yeah,
very
I've
good
heard
book.
that. Yeah.
Goes into a lot more detail, and there's some truly harrowing stuff, which is
Mm.
basically like the big takeaway for me was that like all these like traders and brokers and shit do all this like weird, obscure, wild ass shit that is horrible for the economy. But the problem is they're able to get away with it because the people who work at the SEC work there because they can't get like they're not good enough to work basically at other places because they're paid so much less. And
Oh,
so like if you're going into like that sort of finance kind of thing and you want to make decent money, which I imagine most people going into finance do.
yeah, that's it's sort of where the money lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to the place where money lives.
Yeah.
So you expect a chunk of it to come your
Yeah.
way.
You want some of the money to come home with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah. So won't work at the SEC because not as much money lives there.
Yeah, very little money lives there, I would assume.
And the SEC is also like underfunded and shit. And so it's these people who are like maybe not the best like brokers and like financial minds
Yeah.
who are overworked and underpaid and cannot keep up with all the shit that all these fucking firms are going for.
Yeah.
So harrowing
Damn.
stuff.
Yeah. Damn. That makes me
Hey.
think about how on a related note, like government cybersec,
Mm-hmm.
they can't get good people in the door to do
Mm-hmm.
cybersecurity for the government because two reasons, Sam. One, same problem you're describing.
Mm-hmm.
Two, they they keep testing for marijuana and ain't nobody passing that test.
You gotta get a waiver for that.
I know it's a federal job, but if you're looking for a hardcore systems like cybersecurity expert, what you're gonna get is someone who likes marijuana.
Hey, Luke, would you like me to read you just the like headline and star rating for a bunch of IMDb reviews for this god awful film?
Yes, please.
Because I started looking at these first, and it sent me into crisis mode.
Yeah.
Here's the first one. It's complicated. 7 out of 10.
What?
Mm-hmm. Edgy NYC indie flick. 10 out of 10.
Okay, these people need help.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the send help button in the Rotten Tomatoes? Call 911 for this person.
Some of those who wander are lost. 7 out of 10.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about?
A lot of nothing and something. Brave but flawed. 3 out of 10. No, it's not.
No,
It's
it's
not
not.
brave. It's not brave.
See, this is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, folks, art is not universally of merit.
No.
And that's probably the meanest thing I've ever said on this podcast. Duds do exist, and this is one of them.
Yes. like without qualification or anything, this is a dud.
This is
Um,
a dud.
I gotta read you more of these, man, because it
I
makes me
just
worried about humanity.
Yeah, this last thing I was gonna say is that this movie plays like a wet fart in a movie theater.
So, okay. So while I was still watching the movie, but you had finished it, I sent you an Instagram video of someone who had sculpted a sand man at the beach,
Yeah.
and he was close up to the shore, so that when the waves came in, they flowed into his mouth, and they would spray out his butthole like he
Mm-hmm.
had terrible diarrhea. And Luke, that little video has more to say about the human condition than this fucking movie does.
It genuinely does. Plus, it has little kids who cheer every time it blasts through his butthole, and
It's
I
so
adored that.
good. It's so good. Um, Here's one, and I'll read just the first little sentence of it too, because it needs to be heard. Much better than its rating, 7 out of 10. If I could give it a 6.5, I would. While it was not hugely captivating, it did hold my attention. What?
Although it was not hugely captivating,
It did hold my attention.
although it wasn't interesting, I did
I did
watch it.
watch it. The subtitle of this podcast.
Yeah.
um, Loved it, loved it, loved it. 9 out of 10.
See, these people are hurt.
Oh, bud, this is the one that like I nearly like walked into the street. What is the movie about? 8 out of 10.
I think, okay, here's the problem. One, these people are deeply hurt and need help. Please send 911 to them immediately,
Mm-hmm.
whatever services they require.
Mm-hmm.
Two, there's a compulsion to not feel stupid.
Yes,
And that's what they're
absolutely.
fighting. I am 99% sure that this is a person who watched this movie, which we both watched and both concluded is a dud that has nothing to say and
Mm-hmm.
is
Yeah.
not entertaining. The bare minimum a movie should be entertaining
Yes. Or have a plot. Um,
or
I've
have a
got
plot.
I've got two more to read
Okay.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
Good movie, not one of Keanu's Cineplex type efforts. 8 out of 10. Fuck you. You're the
Fuck off.
last person I want to meet at a party.
Yeah,
And
I think
then
Keanu's best movie is probably Generation I mean, have you seen John Wick, my friend?
you see fucking anything? You know other movies exist, right?
Yeah.
Um Breathtakingly authentic, 10 out of 10. No, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
No,
It's a
it's
dud.
not. This is nothing.
Who is this authentic to?
The worst person you could imagine.
Yes, the
Someone who's
worst.
like, I do cocaine and yell at bartenders.
Yeah, the worst wastoids you've ever seen in your life. But who is okay? Who thinks this? Who
I
looks at
don't
this
know.
movie and is like, this is authentic because it's about a guy who drives escorts around um and steals a video camera and then they video each other doing nothing
Nothing. Yeah.
for most of an hour.
Yeah. Like he gets the camera around 45 minutes in. I know because I paused the movie and wanted to cry.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
okay, I'm sorry. Last one.
Yeah, yeah.
Generation is a very subtle and clever movie with fine actors' work.
Subtle and clever.
This is not.
This is not.
Nor does it have good acting. Like Keanu is fine, but I gotta tell you, the two women are terrible.
Yeah, they have gone on to do other stuff, thank God.
Have they?
Yes.
Because see, I kept thinking that this would kill the career of any actor who's not Keanu Reeves.
Well, thankfully, no one saw it, Sam. It was released in New York and Los Angeles and then went straight to VOD.
Probably a good choice.
So nobody saw it and it didn't make a dime.
Oh, thank God. Thank God Mark Mann suffered for this.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
you got anything else you want to say about this?
No.
Good. Um, let's see. Luke, next week, we're
Mhm.
watching the 2013 film Man of Tai Chi.
Yeah.
And this movie, Keanu directed.
What?
Yes, he
I keep
directed this
forgetting
one.
this.
Yeah, so Luke, what do you think Man of Tai Chi is about?
I think it's a kung fu movie.
Are is that a legit guess or
That's a
do you
legit. I have no jokes are out of the room briefly.
mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it's a kung fu movie, and I need to talk about the fact that I think Keanu Reeves directed a straight up kung fu movie.
Yeah, I when I was in a desperate moment checking to make sure which movies we had left before John Wick, and also um like making sure that he was in the next movies that we were planning on watching, I did have to like read descriptions for movies
Yeah.
and stuff. So I do kind of know what this one's about.
Oh, okay. Well, then don't tell me.
Okay.
But I am desperately hoping it's just a kung fu movie that he directed and starred in.
I cannot wait to see what Keanu's directing is like.
Yes. Is this the nicest movie ever made?
Who knows? It's just a bunch of people with no boundaries being very friendly to each other.
Yeah, just a bunch of Canadians. Eh?
Mm-hmm. Oh God. Well, time can only tell.
Yeah.
Uh uh I mean, do you have a plot prediction?
I think somebody steals, it's like Bowser.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody steals someone's daughter or fiance or something, hides them away in a tower. Keanu's got to fight his way there and sort of get her back.
Okay, so it's Keanu's kung fu take on Taken.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, in my
Mm-hmm.
head, I was kind of thinking it's a kung fu take on Taken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, well, folks, thanks for listening to another episode of Hanksy Panksy. You can find us on Facebook at Hanksy Panksy Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Hanksy Panksy Pod. You can send us an email at hanksypanksypod@gmail.com. We're also on Blue Sky at Hanksy Panksy, and we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Hanksy Panksy. We got a lot of fun stuff over there, and you check us enough money, and you can become one of Hanks's heroes, like Tuck and Daniel. And fellas, I won't make you watch this movie. Luke,
Good enough.
do you have a final quote?
I do. It's said by Keanu, and it is, and again, not with this inflection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe try saying something interesting.
Oh God, I wish anyone had taken that advice.
What if the movie had turned on? This is about an hour in. What if it had turned on a fucking dime at that exact moment? Everything became interesting.
Suddenly, there's a plot.
Suddenly, there's plot.
Oh, fuck. Well, folks, thanks for listening to another episode of Hanksy Panksy Honor Among Reeves. We'll be back next week with 2013's Man of Tai Chi.